Speaker, I am asking the Honorable CS this question on behalf of Senator Joyce Korir. And before I do that, Mr. Speaker, I want to also congratulate the Honorable CS for his joining the broad-based government and for taking the lead in participating in the responses to the questions regarding service delivery to the people of Kenya. Question number 088, Honorable CS, is in the following. Under question A, could the Cabinet Secretary explain the inordinate delay in processing and disbursing pension benefits to retired civil servants, and state why one Mr. Stephen Kipyegon Turgat of TSC number 073576 and Mr. Jonathan Kiptanui Langat of TSC number 069710, who retired in the year 2001, are yet to receive their pension? B, what measures has the ministry put in place to ensure the timely processing and disbursement of pension benefits to civil servants? And could the Honorable CS provide a timeline for the disbursement of all the pending pension dues? C, Mr. Speaker, what initiatives has the ministry taken to sensitize civil servants on their pension rights as well as the pension claim processes? And lastly, to the Honorable CS, could he explain any measures that has been put in place by the ministry to ensure retirees can access the pensions department services countrywide, thereby eliminating the need to travel long distances to Nairobi to follow up on these pension claims? Mr. Speaker, those are the questions, and I thank you.
Cabinet Secretary, please go ahead.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, again, Senator Joyce Korir wanted to know the following, and I'll start with question number 1. This was question number 088. So the first question was if I could explain the inordinate delay in processing and disbursing pension benefits to retired civil servants, and there are specific pensioners whom she has sought to know if they have received their pensions, and I respond as follows. Honorable Speaker, over time, several key factors have contributed to delays in pension processing within the pensions department. However, through targeted initiatives, many of these issues have been incrementally addressed, leading to improvements in processing efficiency. Below are some of the primary factors impacting on the pension processing and disbursement timelines, while I will discuss the measures taken to mitigate the challenges shortly. Number 1 is delays in submission from MDS, that is ministries, departments, and agencies. So one of the major causes of delays is the late submission of necessary documentation from MDS. These delays are often due to inefficiencies and internal bottlenecks within the MDS, where the preparation and forwarding of pension-related documents are not always prioritized. Number 2, incomplete documented claims resulting in referral backwards. Another significant delay factor is the frequent submission of incomplete or improperly documented claims. When key information is missing, claims have to be referred back to the originator for correction, causing substantial delays in processing. Number 3 is system unavailability. Technical issues and system downtime have also contributed to delays in processing pensions. Outages and system failures often resulted in significant backlogs as the department was unable to process claims during these periods. Number 4 is workload versus staffing. Previously, the imbalance between the heavy workload and limited number of staff coupled with limited automation was a contributor to delays. The volume of claims had grown in unmatched proportions of human resource and the then deployed technology, leading to extended timelines for pension processing. Number 5, bureaucratic bottlenecks. The presence of multiple layers of approval within the pension processing workflow contributed to unnecessary delays. Each level of approval required time, often without adding significant value to the process. Number 6 is delayed budgetary allocation. Pension processing is also impacted by delays in exchequer allocations. On the specific cases, I will now respond as follows. Now, there were specific cases where I was asked to respond. Case number 1 is Stephen Turgut Kipyegon. I hope I've got the name correctly. TSC number 73576. Pension number APN/PC 150010. Mr. Stephen Turgut retired from the Teacher Service Commission with effect from 31st August 2003, where he last served as an approved Teacher 1. His claim was submitted to the Pension Department by the TSC on 15th January 2004. His pension benefits were processed and paid on 4th August 2004. He was awarded 625,899 shillings and 90 cents as his lump sum, including monthly pension arrears. He was receiving a monthly pension of 9,278 until his demise on 2nd April 2012, when the 5 years dependent pension took effect and was paid to his dependents, that is his wife, Mrs. Margaret Chepkirui Turgut. She received a monthly dependent pension of 9,778, which ceased on the 5th anniversary of the death of the pensioner. Mrs. Turgut was also paid a widows and children's pension in arrears through the December 2013 payroll, followed by the subsequent monthly pension of Kenya shillings 4,362 to date. Case number 2 was on Jonathan Kiptanui Langat, TSC number 69701, and pension number APN/PC 131805. Mr. Jonathan Langat retired from the Teacher Service Commission again with effect from August 31st, 2001, where he served as a P1 teacher. His claim was submitted to the Pension Department by the TSC on 14th May 2002. His pension benefits were processed and paid on 9th August 2002, and he was awarded 165,282 and 10 cents as his lump sum payment, including monthly pension arrears. He received a monthly pension of 3,613.17 cents Kenya shillings until his demise on 18th September 2006, when the dependent pension took effect and was paid to his dependents, his wife, Miss Irene Chepkoech Langat, at a monthly rate of 3,613 that ceased on the 5th anniversary of the death of the pensioner. She was also paid widows and children's pension, which she continues to earn at the rate of Kenya shillings 4,120 to date. Additional context on pension review. It is important to note that a category of retired teachers was subject to a pension review following the landmark ruling in Teacher Service Commission versus Simon P. Kamau, and the court case is indicated there, Mr. Speaker. This ruling addressed disparities in pension payments for teachers who retired between 1st July 1997 and 30th June 2003, entitling them to have their pensions recalculated based on revised salary scales. Mr. Stephen Kipyegon Turgut retired on 31st August 2003 and did not fall within the eligible category for the pension review. However, Mr. Jonathan Kiptanui Langat retired on 31st August 2001 and was eligible for review. The TSC submitted the revised pension claim on 16th August 2024. The claim was processed and the revised amount totaling 301,692 was duly paid to his wife, Irene Chepkoech Langat, being revised pension. Question number 2, or B, according to the questioner, was on what measures has the ministry put in place to ensure the timely processing and disbursement of pension benefits to civil servants, And could the Cabinet Secretary provide a timeline for the disbursement of all pending pension dues? Honorable Speaker, the National Treasury acknowledges the importance of continuously enhancing the timely, efficient, and effective payment of pensions to all retirees. Before outlining the specific measures taken, it is essential to understand the broader context of the pension payment process. Overview of the pension payment process. Number one, dependency on various actors. The pension payment process involves multiple stakeholders, each with distinct responsibilities that impact the timelines for pension disbursement. Number two, retiree and beneficiary responsibilities. Retirees or beneficiaries of deceased officers must apply for their pension dues by completing and submitting the necessary documentation. Delays in this step, especially in cases of family disputes or litigation, can impact the payment timelines. Number three is the employer's role. Employers are required to issue retirement notices to employees at least 1 year in advance to enable timely submission of pension claim forms. The employer is expected to submit these claims to the Pensions Department at least 9 months before the employee's retirement. Number two is the role of the Pensions Department. As the final authority in the pension processing chain, the Pensions Department is expected to finalize claims within 90 days of receiving fully supported pension claims. Number five and final one is the impact of exchequer funding. The release of pension gratuity payments depends on the availability of exchequer funding, which in turn is influenced by national revenue inflows. Delays in funding can affect the timely disbursement of pensions. Mr. Speaker, on specific measures implemented. In pursuit of continuous improvement, the following measures have been implemented. Number one is the re-engineering of the pensions management information system. One of the most critical initiatives is the comprehensive overhaul of the pension management information system. The National Treasury is actively re-engineering the PMIS to enable its functionality, data management, and overall efficiency. A contractor was onboarded in February 2024 for the development, supply, configuration, installation, testing, implementation, and commissioning of an online pension management information system in order to guarantee an enterprise resource planning ERP solution, which will automate pension processes end-to-end and eliminate manual interfaces. This upgrade will significantly streamline pension processing, ensuring faster and more accurate disbursement, meaning we'll be transiting officers from the payroll to the pension. Key features and benefits of the forthcoming pension management information system have a number of key features. I don't know whether to read all of them. There is online submission, there is self-service portal, timely payments, real-time monitoring, enhanced security, automated processes, integration with existing systems, as I've just explained, where we integrate with the government systems like Government Human Resources Information System, Civil Registration Bureau, KRA and Registration of Persons Bureau, and integrate it with the Population Registry System, which would ensure data accuracy and consistency. The other one will be digital records management, where we are going to digitize pension records, reducing the risk of loss or damage to physical documents. Finally, there will be customer support, which is a dedicated help desk, provides support to pensioners and stakeholders, ensuring smooth implementation and open processes. It aims to provide a seamless and efficient experience for pensioners, improving the overall effectiveness of pension management. The project is on track to be completed and rolled out by the end of this calendar year. Number two is deployment of pension officers to key ministries, departments, and agencies. And this is to further expedite the pension processing chain. The government has deployed 32 pension officers to various key MDAs, including the Teacher Service Commission, which has majority of the pensioners, National Police Service, and the Ministry of Health, Interior, Education, Agriculture, Livestock, and Prisons. These officers are tasked with handling pension claims on site, drastically reducing the time needed for verification and submission of claims to the pension department. This strategic deployment ensures that pension claims are processed more quickly and the retirees receive their benefits without unnecessary delays. Early submission of pension claims. The Public Service Commission has mandated in its policies that MDAs submit pension claims to the Pensions Department 9 months before an officer's official retirement age or date. This early submission allows for thorough verification and processing of claims well in advance of retirement, ensuring that pension benefits can be disbursed promptly upon the retiree's departure from the service. Number 4 is adherence to the 90-day processing timeline. The Pensions Department has reinforced its commitment to processing fully supported pension claims within 90 days, as outlined in the National Treasury Citizens Service Delivery Charter. This commitment is integral to ensuring that pensioners receive their benefits within a reasonable time frame after retirement, thus minimizing any financial uncertainty during the transition to retirement. Number 5 is technical supports and system enhancements in the Pensions Department. The Pensions Department has executed a technical support contract aimed at improving the payment process and enhancing the overall customer experience. Key initiatives under this contract include the stabilization of the system and assurance of system availability, system designs to enhance automated claim processing of hitherto difficult isolated cases. Let me move to number 6, which is deployment of pension officers to Huduma centers nationwide. I think, again, that is self-explanatory. We are also now review of the pension legal framework. Recognizing the need for a robust and adaptable pension system, the government is undertaking a comprehensive review of the pensions legal framework. This review set to begin in the second quarter of 24-25 financial year. It's aimed to align the pension laws with changing demographics, economic conditions, and social expectations. The goal is to ensure financial sustainability, equity, and international competitiveness in Kenya's retirement system. Number 8 is formulation of a national retirement benefits policy. Again, the National Retirement Benefits Policy, approved by the Cabinet on 3rd November 2023, serves as a cornerstone for the future development of the retirement benefits sector in Kenya. This policy is designed to improve governance within the retirement system, foster sector growth, and ensure income security of retirees. Number 9 is a sensitization of civil servants on retirement documentation. To further support timely pension processing, the Pension Department has conducted workshops aimed at educating civil servants on the necessary documentation and procedures required before retirement. And again, the details are provided in my written submission. Number 10 is recruitment of additional pension officers. In a bid to bolster the Pension Department's capacity, which I expressed earlier, the National Treasury recruited additional pension officers in the year 2021, followed by 6 deputy directors with extensive expertise in pension administration, who were recruited in the year 2024. So this recruitment drive is a part of a broader strategy to enhance the department's efficiency and effectiveness in managing pension benefits for public servants. The other question that was asked, Mr. Speaker, is what initiatives has the ministry taken to sensitize civil servants on their pension rights as well as the pension claim processes? Here, Honorable Speaker, I want to state as follows, that the Pensions Department has continuously engaged in civic education to the public regarding pensions and their rights as civil servants to access pension as well as information. Some of the measures in place to sensitize civil servants include the following. 1 is partnership with NDS for sensitization of pensioners. Actually, I had already spoken to that. Number 2 is joint public exhibitions with industry pensions players. Number 3 is online publications of pension information to the public. The 4th question, Mr. Speaker, was, could the Cabinet Secretary explain any measures put in place by the Ministry to ensure retirees can access the Pensions Department services countrywide, thereby eliminating the need to travel long distances to Nairobi to follow up on pension claims? Honorable Speaker, I wish to state as follows. The National Treasury has put in place a number of measures as elaborated below. I have just explain two measures. Number one, deployment of pension officers to all the Huduma centers countrywide. To enhance service delivery, the Pension Department decentralized its information services through the deployment of pensions officers to Huduma centers countrywide. This initiative was designed to address the concerns of the elderly pensioners and beneficiaries who faced logistical challenges to access the pension services at the headquarters in Nairobi. The department to facilitate efficient customer care services at the country level. Finally, Mr. Speaker, is outreach programs by pension officers through Huduma Mashinani. The department, through its officers deployed to the Huduma centers, have been sensitizing the public on pension matters while rendering pension services through the Huduma Mashinani outreach programs. This initiative ensures that the pension services can be accessed by retirees at the grassroots level countrywide. In conclusion, the Pension Department has continuously revamped its operations through adoption of a results-based management approach to ensure timely, efficient, and effective payment of pension to all retirees. In the financial year 23-24, the Pension Department was allocated 187.5 billion in the revised budget to pensioners to fund gratuities, payroll, and dependent pensions to the public. The disbursed amount as of 30th June 2024 was 148.9 billion, where gratuities or lump sum benefits were 43 billion and pensioners' payroll was 73.6 billion, with a biannual monthly increase of 3% for pensioners. And lastly, the new scheme, which is the superannuation scheme, contributions was 31.6 billion. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Senator Sige, you have a supplementary question?
Yes, Mr. Speaker. I first of all want to appreciate the Honorable CS for a very elaborate response to the various questions which were asked by my colleague, Senator Joyce. I have got two questions. One, I want to get a commitment from the Honorable CS, noting that the two specific cases which were listed here, you've elaborately responded that the pensions have since been paid. The last one was on the 16th of August 2024. I believe this will answer that first limb of the question. But I would wish to get a commitment from your end with regards to the system which you have. This is called the re-engineering of the Pension Management Information System, PMIS, which, according to your response, is due to be completed and rolled out by end of the year 2024. I would be very happy to get a commitment and undertaking by the Honorable CS with that timeline. And two, question number two, which is supplementary question number two, which is emanating from your response to question number 4 on the measures which you've put in place or your ministry has put in place to ensure retirees access pension. The second one is on the outreach programs by pension officers. This one I want to confirm to you, Honorable CS, that from where I come from, where I represent the county of Bomet, I haven't been able to experience or get to know that these do exist. Could I or could you be in a position to confirm that that is so, and if not, I would be very happy to get a confirmation that you will facilitate this outreach program for the pensioners to get to understand Huduma Mashinani, and in particular to facilitate them benefit from these outreach services. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Senator. Cabinet Secretary.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, my commitment to Senator Sige is that the two cases have been addressed. The first case, actually the second case is the one that had a little bit of issues because of the revising of the pension system following the court case. And so there was additional funds that were supposed to be given to this pensioner, and that was processed in August 20. There should be no issue at all. On the rollout of the system, yes, the commitment from my team is that by the end of this fiscal year, initially there was a talk that we should roll it out by the end of this financial year, but I think we have insisted that the rollout should be by the end of this fiscal year. Because again, we usually as a government have very good intentions, good strategies, but implementing them become a problem, and then implementation or rollout become a moving target. I'm trying to cure that and make sure that where we can implement system immediately, that there should be no procrastination and delay, and that is what I intend to do. On the issue of the outreach, not covering some areas of the country, that could be possible. I'll have to investigate this and find out if the rollout is uniform across the country and if it is adding value and people are appreciating it. Because you can also roll it out and people are not even aware and therefore not appreciating. So with specific to your county, Senator, Bomet County, I will find out, but I will also look at other counties alongside Bomet to make sure that all Kenyans, even those who probably today no question has not been asked on their behalf, also benefit from the rollout. Thank you.
Thank you. Senator Tabitha Mutinda, you have a supplementary question?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and allow me to really appreciate the standards that the CS of Finance has set before this House. As we've mentioned earlier, it's the first time that the CS is appearing, and I've listened to the feedback you've given is very elaborative. But my concern goes, I think, more specifically to your officers, who are mandated with the responsibility of ensuring that these pensions are paid. Because I have a very similar case from a late one, Penina Kelonzo from Kitui, who passed on, and they came to my office following on this matter of the pension, and the response was that TSC had not submitted to Treasury. Then you just wonder, for Christ's sake, these are intergovernmental organizations. Why should be Kenyans, be subjected to the delayance of the officers who are in charge of these dues that subject families and their children to suffer because an officer is just seated somewhere on their desk and they're not executing? What you've elaborated astonishes us, that systems are in place. So if the system is in place, Bwana Waziri, then it means someone is sitting, and I'll give you the name after this. I'll give you the name of the officer so that you take action. The leniency I'll give, I've not put him on record now, but I'll give you the name because it's very disappointing to have people who are not executing their mandate in that office of pension. The other issue I wanted just to quickly raise, Mr. Speaker, I sit in the committee for CPIC, and I'm happy the chair is here. Just let me wrap it up, whereby as counties, the CS is working on ensuring that remittance is done to the counties. But during salary payments, these deductions are done. Pensions deductions are done, but we are suffering whereby as we do audit, as you've said, as senators to do our oversight mandate, we are doing that, but pensions are also not being submitted to the relevant beneficiaries. That's my concern, Bwana Speaker. Thank you.
Senator Otsotsi, you also have a question. So, okay.
I just wanted to inform my member, Senator Tabitha, that the CS has already embarked on the process of implementing your recommendations on the matter of unremitted pension from county government and the different local authorities. So the process started with the previous cabinet secretary, but he has picked it up. And hopefully very soon we will have the task force in place to look at that matter.
Thank you for the information, Senator Otsotsi. You can go ahead and ask your supplementary question.
Speaker, let me first of all start by thanking the PS for appearing in this house. I have come in late, but I was...
The CS, not the PS.
I have come in late, but I was watching where I was. And I'm excited that we now have a PS who is very thorough. A CS who is very thorough in his work And indeed, this confirms what we have been telling Kenyans, that as ODM, we have seconded our best expert to be in charge of the Ministry of Finance. Now, coming to my question, I'm happy to learn that the ministry is putting in place plans to automate the pension department by coming up with a pension system. But I would like to find out from the CS what plans are there to ensure that all these financial systems are integrated so that the pension system is integrated with the IFMIS and other key government systems, so that we don't end up having the challenges that we have been having, for example, with the IFMIS, and have been raised in this House, where the controller of budget has been pushing for an end-to-end IFMIS solution, so that she's able to monitor the payments that are made on the IFMIS, so that to be able to deal with the issue of diversion of funds. So I'm just concerned about the issue of integration. What plans are there so that to make sure that this pension system is integrated to IFMIS and other related systems within government? Thank you.
Cabinet Secretary.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and I want to thank the honorable senators for the questions raised. I'll start with Senator Tabitha Mutinda. Tabitha, I agree with you. Actually, let's face it, if you have too much interface between officers and systems, you have a problem. Because a lot of these delays are just rent-seeking strategies, which must be eliminated. And that is why we are trying to reduce the human interface with the system and have a system that is integrated, where we will, we will have a seamless transfer from human resource service to the pension system. So an officer is serving as an officer. The moment you are transiting from human resource service to a pension. There should be a seamless transfer so that we eliminate this subjectivity, the human interference, where someone puts a file and waits for you to come and appear. There is no reason why Senator, people should come from Kitui, Homa Bay, Lodwar, etc. to Nairobi to follow up their pension. It should be done automatically and seamlessly. So that is why this system, which is the Pension Management Information System, will come in handy. We want to see how to integrate it with the payroll of the TSC so that the system picks the information of those who are retiring automatically and onboard them. If there are issues to be clarified, the system should have provisions for making sure that all this data is captured. So that would address that issue. The issue number 2, which again you are spot on, is on failure by those who are deducting, whether it is ministries, departments, agencies, or county governments. And I think the biggest culprit as of now has been the county governments. Even the defunct local authorities. A lot of money was deducted and not remitted. And this is part of people's salary. Even monies that go to others for other statutory deductions. KRA, it is people's salary. They have earned it. Whether it is money you are saving in your circle, it is your money. So if the government, and my suggestion would be very radical, that if these agencies cannot remit the statutory deduction, then the best thing to do, Mr. Speaker, is to allow the national government to nationalize or centralize payment of salaries and then retain the money and pay to where it should go, and we only remit the funds that are not, that are for, to the bank for the employees to receive their salaries, and all the statutory deductions is withheld. It was assumed that paying agencies would be responsible enough to make sure that money that they deduct, they also remit. Why use part of people's salary to pay other bills? It doesn't make sense at all. And Honorable Senator Soti is right. Actually, my deputy party leader, you know, Mr. Speaker, I'm still a member of ODM. I'm only not an official. I'm still a proud member of the Orange Democratic Movement, and is my deputy party leader. We have, this system is supposed to be an integrated system. And we should even move a little further. That is a discussion that we are having, to integrate almost the entire financial management. Actually, IFMIS was meant to do that. But I think IFMIS probably came too early for its time. It is not keeping pace with the recent developments. We need to review that system, and my ministry is in the front line of reviewing IFMIS as a whole to ensure that we have an integrated financial management system that would capture all the data on all areas, so that by the click of the button, you can have a complete eye view of what is happening. I think I will end there, Mr. Speaker. I just wanted to say that this system, which we want to be rolled out by end of this fiscal year, is at 40% in terms of development. So the rest of the 60%, we must fast track to ensure that we meet the deadline. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Cabinet Secretary. Honorable Senators, we will proceed to the last question this morning. Question number 96, which was raised by Senator Professor Tom Ojienda, and it will be asked by Senator Hezena, who is holding brief for Senator Tom Ojienda.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. And I thank the Honorable CS for Treasury and Economic Planning for finding it useful to attend these sessions. As it was stated earlier on, that the former CS has not been very cooperative as far as this issue is concerned. It also goes to show that I take a lot of pride in the fact that I share a profession with him and also the same party. And it only shows that ODM puts forward the best of the best, the creme de la creme, as far as brains is concerned. Thank you, Waziri. On behalf of the Senator for Kisumu County, Senator Professor Tom Ojienda, Senior Counsel, MP, I ask the following questions. Could the Cabinet Secretary clarify whether the ministry undertook any public engagement on the necessity of the tax measures contained in the Finance Bill 2024, and also state any measures put in place to ensure future public engagements are adequate and meaningful to avert demonstrations similar to those witnessed in June, July, and August 2024. Secondly, has the government assessed the economic impact of the demonstrations in terms of loss of revenue, as well as the number and value of businesses and other properties that were vandalized and or looted? And if so, could the Cabinet Secretary highlight the findings of the assessment? Thirdly, how has the economic disruption from the demonstrations, coupled with the downgrade of Kenya's credit rating, impacted the ability of Kenya to service her debts, and could the Cabinet Secretary explain to any steps taken to stabilize the economy, restore investor confidence, and stabilize the credit rating? Fourth, could the Cabinet Secretary also outline any measures put in place by the government to ensure greater transparency and accountability in taxation and government spending? Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Cabinet Secretary, you may proceed.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. And I want to ask Senator Lemetang for asking the questions on behalf of the Senator for Kisumu, and I will respond to the questions raised. This is the final question. The Senator for Kisumu wanted to know, or clarity from me, whether the ministry undertook any public engagement on the necessity of the tax measures contained in the Finance Bill of 2024, and also states any measures put in place to ensure future public engagements are adequate and meaningful to avert demonstrations similar to those witnessed in June, July, and August 2024. Mr. Speaker, my answers as follows. The annual budgeting processes that are taken in consideration of public participation and constitutional requirement. Process leading to the preparation of the budget estimate for the financial year 2024-25 began with a public workshop to open sector hearings. During sector hearings for the spending in the financial year 2024-25, all stakeholders were invited to make submissions on priority areas that should receive exchequer funding. This informed the budget ceilings as contained in the Budget Policy Statement 2024 and the Fiscal Framework. The Budget Policy Statement for the financial year 24-25 informed the revenue requirements that the government needed to fund the budget. This in turn informed the revenue targets for the financial year 24-25 and the amount that needed to be raised through additional tax policy measures that were contained in the Finance Bill 2024. In terms of tax measures that were contained in the Finance Bill of 2024, the National Treasury started by issuing a public notice requesting for tax proposals that will be contained in the Finance Bill of 2024 way back in November 2023. Stakeholders responded to the public notice and submitted proposals. The National Treasury constituted a committee consisting of the National Treasury, the Kenya Revenue Authority, and the Attorney General's Office to review the proposals and make recommendation to the Cabinet Secretary. And during the review of the proposals, the committee invited stakeholders that submitted the proposals for meetings where the proposals were discussed and clarifications made to the committee. The meetings were held at the National Treasury building and was attended by the following stakeholders. We have a number of them. I may just mention a few. COCO, there is BAT, there is NIFCA, we had Ernst & Martin, Ernst & Young, these are professional audit firms. There's Kenya PricewaterhouseCoopers, stroke Safaricom, they came together. KEPSA was there, Kenya Association of Manufacturers, Kenya Flower Council, we have KPMG, the International Institute for Legislative Affairs, Ongaya Ombo Advocates, Deloitte Johnson & Johnson's and Sons, ISPAC appeared, Ministry of Energy and Petroleum came, American Chambers of Commerce, Kenya Wine Agencies, Legal and Tax Associates, Kenya Breweries Limited, stroke UDV Kenya, Capital Markets Authority, Retirement Benefit Authority, Ministry of Investment and Trade Industry. Now, the reviewed proposals were then submitted to the Cabinet Secretary for consideration and approval. After approval, the proposals were used to develop the Finance Bill 2024. The National Treasury submitted to the National Assembly the Finance Bill 2024 for publication in the Kenya Gazette by 30th April and further public engagement on the bill. I just wanted to add onto this, Mr. Speaker, that because another part of the question was, what are we trying to do to avoid any future, to avert demonstrations similar to the ones that we witnessed? My ministry has embarked on a process of being more open and transparent on the steps and processes that we take, especially regarding proposals on taxation and such like initiatives. Recently, I think on 20th of last month, we had put out an advert inviting comments and opinions from the public, which is ending on 4th, that is this coming Friday. We want Kenyans to tell us a number of issues, to speak to us and tell us what we should do in order to manage our economy better in terms of public debt, in terms of taxation measures, and also in terms of what should we do in the event that the Parliament is not able to pass the two bills which are very critical for transfer of funds to the counties. So we have started engaging, and we also started the process of 2025-26 budget preparation of the budget, and we launched it publicly at KICC. And I'm intending to have regular media briefings to just highlight and inform the public what we are intending to do. And listening to the public will be able to carry forward only those proposals which would find favor with the majority of Kenyans. I want to end that submission on that particular aspect by saying that, unlike previously, my ministry will, going forward, be able to explain and publicly every proposal that we contain or carry in the finance bill. I think one of the biggest challenges that, or what faced the finance bill of 2024 was the fact that there was no proper communication from the National Treasury on these proposals, including the motor vehicle tax, which no one came out from the National Treasury to explain. I want to give a commitment that any proposal that we'll put forward to Parliament in terms of tax changes or any other financial issue will be properly explained. Number B, or the second issue, Mr. Speaker, and I will go through it very quickly, is how, as the government assessed the economic impact of the demonstration in terms of loss of revenue, as well as the number and value of businesses and other properties that were vandalized and or looted, and if so, could my office highlight the findings of the assessment? My response is as follows. The demonstrations affected businesses and industries. Mr. Speaker, in major cities, businesses were closed and some were destroyed. This affected revenue collection. The demonstrations led to the withdrawal of Finance Bill 2024, resulting in a revenue loss and therefore a financing gap of approximately 344.3 billion in the financial year 24-25. Mr. Speaker, in the month of July and August 2024, because you remember that we had demonstrations almost up to 8th August. I think that is the last demonstration that we saw. Ordinary revenue collection is lagging behind target by 18.5 billion. The total revenue collection, including ministerial appropriation in aid, for the period ending August 2024, that is for the 2 months, was 373.5 billion, which is 2.3% of GDP, against a target of 403.1 billion, recording a shortfall of 29.6 billion as shown in the table which I've provided, and I'll not read the table because it's a long one. So total revenue for the period grew by 6.3% compared to a growth of 12.4% in the previous year in August 2023, while ordinary revenue grew by only 3.2% if you compare to a growth rate of 9.9% in August of 2023. All the tax heads remained below respective targets. So I have provided the statistic that are on the table there on cumulative revenue performance by August 2024 as shown in millions. The below target performance in total revenue was on account of shortfall in ministerial A in A at 11.1 billion, and ordinary revenues, as I indicated earlier, of 18.5 billion. So under the ordinary revenue categories, import duty was below target by 845 million, excise taxes was below target by 4.9 billion, VAT was below target by 10.2 billion, income tax was below target by Kenya shillings at a tune of 3 billion shillings. The slower growth of ordinary revenue by 3.2% by August 2024, compared with a growth of 9% over the same period in 2023, demonstrate the impact of slower economic activity since June 2024. However, revenue performance is expected to bounce back going forward given the stability in the macroeconomic environment. Inflation rate is firmly under control currently at 4.4% in August 2024. Overall inflation, actually the latest data, what I signed off yesterday, is that our inflation has even come down to 3.6%, Mr. Speaker. This one is below the midpoint of the target, which is 5%, for 3 consecutive months. So if you look at month of June, July, and August, now the 4th month, we are below 5%. This is a drop from 6.7% in August 2023, and a peak of 9.6% in October 2022, when we had the worst inflationary pressures in this country. The pass-through effects of the strengthening exchange rate since February 2024 and the tight monetary policy stance by Central Bank of Kenya have supported the easing inflation. But we think now, so that we encourage the private sector to uptake more loan to create job opportunities. Because again, you may control the base lending rate. So CBK had raised central bank rate to 13% to manage inflation expectation, but with inflation remaining low, the CBK lowered the central bank rate to 12.75% from 13%. And given that the federal rate has even gone down. We expect, I think it's on 10th, when CBK will release the new rates, then it should come down. In addition, favorable weather conditions coupled with targeted government interventions have also led to the reduction in the cost of food production, thereby lowering food inflation. So the other question, Mr. Speaker, was how has the economic disruption from the demonstrations, coupled with the downgrade of Kenya's credit rating, impacted the ability of Kenya to service her debts? And could the Cabinet Secretary explain any steps taken to stabilize the economy, restore investor confidence, and improve the credit rating? Here, Mr. Speaker, I would state as follows, that the credit rating agencies downgraded our country during the peak of the demonstration and stated that Kenya's fiscal debt will not be impacted. So measures that have been taken to stabilize the economy and restore investor confidence include the following. One, the government has continued to invest in agricultural productivity to support economic growth, which is projected at 5.2% in 2024 and 5.4% in 2025. The latest report was that we grew at only 4.6%, but that was expected. In fact, we even expected a lower growth. But now with 4.6%, we are sure if the peace prevails, Mr. Speaker, and all other fundamentals remain constant, then we would be able to achieve the target of 5.2% in 2024 and move even to 5.5% in 2025. Number two, ensuring macroeconomic stability with inflation remaining below 5%, target for 3 consecutive months, largely driven by easing food and fuel prices. Overall, inflation remained stable at 4.4% and 4.3% respectively in August and July, and I've added that in September it was 3.6%. Number 3 is ensuring stability of the exchange rate, which has created confidence and triggered inflows of foreign direct investment and attracted investors to the Nairobi Securities Exchange. I also want to add that our import cover is fairly healthy at about 4.6%. 4.6 or monthly import cover. The other one is private investment will be supported by measures aimed at improving competitiveness, inclusivity, market efficiency, positive business sentiments, access to the international market, and projected foreign direct investment inflows. Investment will also benefit from an increased focus on public-private partnership, PPPs, following the new completion of the harmonization of the public investment policy, which will align PPP and public investment management frameworks. The other one is on fiscal stabilization. Fiscal consolidation will be supported by continued efforts to enhance domestic revenue mobilization, prioritize and rationalize expenditure while safeguarding priority government programs and social spending. Emphasis will be placed on enhanced revenue mobilization through a combination of tax, administrative, and tax policy reforms that include implementation of national tax policy and the medium-term revenue strategy that will further strengthen tax revenue mobilization efforts to about 20%. In fact, we are focusing on 22% of GDP over the medium term. It's not something that is bullet. Currently, it is 14% of GDP. That is our tax revenue as a percentage of GDP. We want it to move forward. We are in the process, as we speak, of rolling. We are also looking at state-owned enterprise reforms to generate savings, and also use of PPP to take out commercially viable projects from Exchequer. I know this is causing controversy at the moment, but Mr. Speaker, I want to just state that PPP as a concept is the way to go, to look for funding for major infrastructure projects, to take them off pressures on Exchequer. Kenya meets its debt obligations, Mr. Speaker, promptly, and no debt arrears have been accumulated. Public debt is projected to remain within sustainable levels on account of fiscal consolidation path that reflects decline in the ratio of debt to GDP in present value terms over the medium term. And to improve Kenya's debt sustainability and boost our credit rating position, the government will continue to implement measures to enhance growth of foreign exchange earnings by way of attracting direct foreign investment or foreign direct investment and pursuit of export promotion strategy. The last question, Mr. Speaker, the Senator for Kisumu wanted to know and from me that the Cabinet Secretary outline any measures put in place by the government to ensure greater transparency and accountability in taxation and government spending. Mr. Speaker, the following is my response. In order to ensure transparency, the National Treasury usually invites the members of the public to submit proposals that will help the government improve tax revenue policy and boost revenue collection. Number two, during the preparation of finance bill, the National Treasury usually invites every stakeholder that submitted a proposal to shed more light on the proposal. And number three, during consideration of a finance bill in the National Assembly, members of the public are usually given time to go through the bill and submit their comments or views via a memorandum to the Department Committee of Finance and National Planning for consideration during the committee stage. But Mr. Speaker, two quick issues on generally how to improve transparency and accountability. And when I appeared before the National Assembly Committee on vetting, or the Appointments Committee, I stated very clearly that we must roll out e-procurement to all national MDS and even county governments. Mr. Speaker, one of my first tasks when I joined the ministry was to find out the status and the position and where the e-procurement system, which is end-to-end system, was. And Mr. Speaker, I was surprised that what the bottleneck was the 560 million to roll out the system. And that is why we have kept on postponing the rollout of this system, which would help us make efficient our procurement system and remove possible collusion in the system. I want to report that I actually gave authority under Article 223 of the Constitution, which I'm allowed the powers given to me by the Constitution to make 560 million available for this rollout, and the procurement is ongoing. That amount is not comparable to the amount that I think we are losing as a country in terms of systems that are not transparent for procurement. Finally, Mr. Speaker, we are working on rolling out a unified payroll system, because we have our fears. And in my discussion with UNDP, which has conducted research in some other countries, I will not mention the country, but they told me that there's a country, when they did audit of the payroll, they discovered that 17% of the workers who are in the payroll were actually not there. They are ghost workers. And I suspect that Kenya could even be worse. So we need to have a system that would root out and get out these ghost workers in our system, which is denying us resources that we need badly for development. And we will be targeting, starting with the Ministry of Education, where we have the biggest wage bill, TSC and the others, so that we can root out. When I was PAC chair, Mr. Speaker, we came across an instance where some teachers remained in the payroll for so many years, even after they were dead. So if dead teachers can remain in payroll, then chances are that non-existent teachers could find their way in the payroll. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I submit.
Thank you, Cabinet Secretary. Senator Hezana, do you have any supplementary questions?
Mr. Speaker, I don't have any supplementary questions, only to and revamp that institution. I'm sure that you're going to be proudly celebrated across the whole country. And I hope the proceeds of the National Treasury, whatever comes down, trickles down to the community up north. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator. Senator Eddie Okech, do you have a supplementary question?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. And the CS has presented a number of questions, actually. including just the last submission, the procurement of this E2E system that will ensure that there is some prudence in terms of the financial management in the country. You know, facing a lot of audit queries in the counties, we've had a number of concerns where sometimes the requests at COB are always having no coherence with the audit reports of the Auditor General, which means that the financial system, there must be some voiding that is happening. So my question is, Bwana CS, actually it's a two-pronged question because of the audit function, or rather the oversight function of the Senate. Is there an impact assessment report on this system in terms of just projecting its effectiveness, that we can be able to access as a House, to be able to anticipate how that system would work in terms of arresting this, what I might call leakages and wastages in terms of financial flow? And is there a chance that the Treasury can be able to give senators access to the end side of this system when it comes alive? Because currently, senators have not had interaction with IFMI's system, so that if there is any voiding in the system, both IB and IFMI's, sometimes it's very difficult for senators to be able to understand where the voiding is happening. That gives controversy or variances between payments that are made at COB level and the payments that are requested at COB levels and the finally audited reports by the Auditor General. So just want to know the case for impact of this system, if there's any report, preliminary report with regards to anticipation, and then two, how would a House like the Senate that is doing oversight interact with that system in terms of being able to ensure a proper bird's eye view position on the payments that happen at a county level?
Cabinet Secretary.
Thank you, and with the very generous comments from the Senator and the Senators, I want to thank the House. But let me address the issues raised by Eddie Okech on procurement, the E2E system, and the audit queries, and the impact, in fact, particularly on the impact assessment. Yes, there is impact assessment. Maybe if need be, we may make available the information regarding how much we are likely even to save as a country in terms of if we use this system. But again, your guess is as good as mine. As a country, we all know that by breaking down the procurement system, where the budget does not speak to procurement, it does not also speak to the cash payment, and does not speak to use of goods and services. If we can have a system where from budget to procurement to payment and finally to use of goods and services integrated in a way that you can have, if I may borrow your word, an eye view or a bird's eye view of what is happening, then we would save quite a lot that we would have otherwise wasted. So if need be, we may provide the information on the impact assessment and even what we are likely to save. In terms of giving senators a chance to engage with the system, yes, I know that these are public records, public systems. But again, Mr. Speaker, we have to be a little careful here because, one, we know that the Auditor General has full access to the system, and senators and members of the National Assembly, as oversighting institution, engage a lot with the reports of the Auditor General, which office we give resources to be able to interrogate and engage with the system and see the efficiency and efficacy of the system. So we must be careful on the level of involvement of the senators, because again, then the separation of power or responsibilities come to play. We don't want to get our senators in the murky waters of implementation because you are supposed to start to be somewhere in terms of oversighting not just how money is spent, but even the systems through which they are spent. So if we engage our legislators to also be like part of the system interacting with the system, there must be a dichotomy. There must be where they reach. But I agree with you that senators need to understand this system. I also used to complain a lot when I was in the National Assembly about IFMIS, because you just hear about upgrade, every day upgrade. But then you ask, what is this IFMIS, which someone can just switch off and on at will? So I think general understanding of how these systems operate is desirable, and that can be dealt with. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you very much. Honorable Senators, we have reached the end of the question and answers. Cabinet Secretary, Honorable CPA John Mbadi, let me also take this opportunity to congratulate you for your new appointment as the Cabinet Secretary, National Treasury and Economic Planning, and to wish you all the best in your new role, and to also thank you for appearing today and for having given a very detailed response to the questions raised by the Senator. At this point in time, Cabinet Secretary, we shall give you leave, and all the best. Thank you. Next order.
Order number 8, motion. Report of the 66th Commonwealth Parliamentary Conference held in Accra, Ghana from 30th September to 6th October 2023. Resumption of debate interrupted on Wednesday, 25th September 2024 at the morning sitting.
Mover, you may reply.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. May I start by thanking the members who contributed to this motion. Mr. Speaker, the Commonwealth Parliamentary Conference is a very important occasion for members of the Commonwealth to discuss many, many issues on governance, democracy, status of various countries, and I'm very happy that the members have captured this also in their discussions. I did mention that out of a presentation from the leader of delegation from Kenya, the Right Honorable Speaker of the National Assembly, Moses Wetangula, a proposal was put forward, which we think will be accepted by many members, that we actually transform the Commonwealth Parliamentarians Association to be a parliamentary organization that can do more than what it is doing now, and I have no doubt it will happen. Mr. Speaker, I don't want to add more because members contributed very well. Mr. Speaker, therefore, I beg to move and request that you defer the putting of the question to a later date. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Senator. We shall defer putting the question to tomorrow. Next order.
Order number 9, motion. Report of the 9th Interparliamentary Global Conference of Young Parliamentarians held in Hanoi, Vietnam from 15th to 17th September 2023.
Deferred. Next order.
Order number 10, motion. Report of the 147th Assembly of the IPU and related meetings held in Luanda, Angola on 23rd to 27th October 2023.
Deferred. Next order.
Order number 11, motion. Report of the Kenya delegation to the extraordinary session of the 6th PAP held at Gallagher Convention Center in Midrand, South Africa from 20th to 27th March 2024.
Deferred. Next order.
Order number 12, motion, report of the Kenya delegation to the 148th IPU and related meetings held in the Geneva, Switzerland from 23rd to 27th March 2024.
Deferred. Next order.
Order number 13, motion, report of the 14th session of the Conference of Inter-Great Lakes Region held in Livingstone, Zambia from 15th to 19th April 2024.
Deferred. Next order.
Order number 14, motion, report of the parliamentary delegation to the 2024 Joint United Nations IPU hearing held at the United Nations headquarters in New York, United States from 8th to 9th February 2024.
Deferred. Next order.
Order number 15, motion, stoppage of funds to Isiolo County due to the failure by governor to honor Senate summonses.
Deferred. Next order. Oh, very well. Honorable Senators, there being no other business on the order paper, the Senate stands adjourned until today, Wednesday, 2nd October 2024 at 2:30 p.m.